Every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
This is CoreTV News on the Hour. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. President Goodluck Jonathan has forwarded the name of former Kano State Governor Ibrahim Shekarau to the Senate for confirmation as minister. Shekarau is one of 3 people on the ministerial list read on the floor of the Senate by Senate President David Mark. The others are former Afenifere spokesman Dayo Adeye. The Senate has not fixed a date for the screening of the ministerial nominees yet. The National Conference has adopted the amended report of its Committee on Public Finance and Revenue. One of the recommendations was the conditional removal of petroleum subsidy by the federal government. The committee had proposed immediate removal of petroleum subsidy, but the recommendation was amended following a motion by 24 delegates moved by Dan Nwayawun, Labour Party chairman, and supported by the majority. The motion stated that the federal government shall, within 3 years from the date it approved the recommendation, build new refineries and repair existing ones to full capacity utilization. That private sector entrepreneurs who have already been granted licenses to build new refineries shall, within a period of 3 years from the date, build new ones or automatically forfeit such licenses. This is to enable other participants who are ready and willing to build such refineries within a period of 3 years the opportunity to do so. It recommended that Section 85 subsection 3 be deleted from the 1999 Constitution to enable the Auditor General of the Federation to audit or appoint external auditors to audit federal government accounts. Proceedings were almost stalled at the House of Representatives after a move by the majority People's Democratic Party to sack all Progressives Congress House leaders and resulted in rowdiness. It took the presiding Deputy Speaker Emeka Ihedioha a few minutes to restore order as PDP and APC lawmakers disagreed over the matter. It was the Deputy House Majority Leader Leo Ogo who took APC members by surprise when he raised an order of privilege to draw attention to what he considered an anomaly. Citing relevant House rules, Ogo, a PDP member from Delta State, says there is a provision that all minority parties in the chamber should nominate candidates to occupy minority leadership positions in the House. Femi Gbajabiamila, an APC member from Lagos State, queried how the internal affair of minority parties breached the privilege of Ogo, a PDP member.
The rules do not say that the minority parties shall nominate based on party basis.
Among ourselves, we agree and we have our leadership and we communicate to our party and the leadership of the... Therefore, Leo Ogo is not a member of the APC.
There was, however, more drama when APGA, Labour Party and Accord Caucus leaders took turns to disagree with Gbajabiamila and support...
Minority leaders, order! Listen to debate. In the parliament. Let me finish, I will continue.
The crisis in Rivers State Judiciary over the appointment of a substantive chief judge for the state has taken a deeper plunge, with the National Judicial Council (NJC) directing the most senior judges in the State High Court and Customary Court of Appeal to oversee assigning of cases to judges. Acting Director of Information NJC's office in Abuja, Sojioye, in a statement made available to newsmen, says that the 2 senior judges would also perform other related administrative duties. It stated that the Judicial Council took the decision to correct the impression created on NJC's decision on the appointment of the Rivers Chief Judge. The Rivers State government has raised alarm over the plot by the NJC to appoint an administrative judge for the state judiciary, which it argued was purely the constitutional duty of the state government. NJC had on March 27 suspended Justice Peter Agumago as the chief judge of Rivers, who was sworn in by Governor Rotimi Amechi on March 18. Agumago, until his appointment as chief judge, which NJC insisted breached Section 271 of the 1999 Constitution, was a former president, Rivers Customary Court of Appeal. Meanwhile, the Agumago has challenged his suspension, and the suit is before an Abuja Federal High Court. A federal high court in Lagos has adjourned till Thursday the trial of Speaker Adeyemi Ikufuruji of the Lagos State House of Assembly, charged with alleged money laundering. Ikufuruji is standing trial alongside his aide Oyebode Atoyebi on an amended 56-count charge bordering on the offence. CoreTV News gathered that the case, which was earlier slated for continuation of trial, was stalled on Wednesday following the absence of the prosecutor, Chief Godwin Obla. When the case was called, counsel representing the accused, Tunde Akirimisi, informed the court of a letter from the prosecutor intimating him of his absence from court. Following the information by Akimirisi, Justice Ibrahim Buba therefore ordered the court registrar to read out the letter in the open. In this letter, Obla informed the court that his absence was due to a matter he was also handling before a federal high court in Abuja. He therefore craved the indulgence of the court that the matter be adjourned to June 5 and June 6 to enable him attend and prosecute his case. The crisis rocking the Labour Party in Ogun State has taken a new dimension as a faction led by Olabode Simon alleged that the other faction, loyal to a former governor of the state, Gbenga Daniel, offered it a bribe of 16.3 million naira to take over the party structure. Now, this is coming exactly 17 days after the two factions hosted the national leadership of the party, which included National Chairman Dan Nwayawu and Governor of Ondo State, Olusegun Mimiko, in Abeokuta. In a meeting with loyalists at the State Secretariat in Adaton, Abeokuta, the state faction chairman, Bode Simon, alleged that the other faction had made several attempts to hijack the party from them. He says the other faction had offered him a trip to either Canada or Dubai and a bribe of 16.3 million naira, which came in foreign currency and naira. This, he added, were to be shared by him, the secretary, Ogini Olakosi, and Financial Secretary Arabambi Abayomi. The party, in a communique read by its Financial Secretary, condemned the statement credited to Daniel that the party has been handed over to him by the national leadership. The State Publicity Secretary, loyal to Daniel's faction, Deji Kalejaye, described the allegation of bribery as alien, baseless, and illogical to the ideas of the Labour Party. The People's Democratic Party in Kwara has challenged the ruling All Progressives Congress in the state to publicly disclose the sources of funds it had been using to finance the party since its registration. PDP Publicity Secretary Rex Olawoye threw the challenge in a statement in Ilorin. The PDP was reacting to an earlier statement credited to Sulaiman Buhari, the state's APC Publicity Secretary, accusing the PDP of organizing a fundraising event in Abuja. Olawoye also challenged the APC to disclose the source of the money it used to pay for the multi-million naira mansion, which the party recently acquired as secretariat. He says that the PDP raised funds from well-to-do members of the party and public-spirited members of the society. Reactions continue to trail former President Olusegun Obasanjo's eulogies of the acclaimed winner of the 1993 presidential elections, MKO Abiola, describing him as a great patriot, a position that is in contrast with his earlier comments that Abiola is not a messiah Nigeria needs. Obasanjo made the remark while speaking as eminent guest of honor at the 4th Founders' Day celebration and 85th birthday anniversary of the founder patron of the Nobel House College, Olatunde Abudu, in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital. The former president acknowledged the contribution of the late business mogul to the development of Nigeria in all areas of human endeavor. An activist, Babatunde Ashafa, says Nigerian democracy would not have been made possible without June 12 sacrifices made by Abiola.
Without June 12, the history has it that Nigerian democracy is impossible. And the cardinal point that June 12 keep teaching Nigerians, reminding Nigerians about is that our, readiness to organize a free, fair, transparent, and credible elections. And that is what will keep us flying. That is what will keep us alive as a democratic nation. So June 12th, Nigerian democracy is incomplete without reference and without recognitions of June 12th.
Ashafa, it took former President Obasanjo so long to recognize Abiola's democratic sacrifices.
It will not be convenient, even if he has been enlightened and educated on the popular formula of, of governance, which is democracy. It will be very, very difficult to really, celebrate and appreciate people from the other side. I give it to him that he was honest to himself, and of course, he was defending the interests of the Nigerian soldier who occupies and controls the minority interests in the country. So it took him so long because that is where he came from. It took him so long because the principle of democracy, the love of democracy has not been their way all this while. And if you look at it from that 1999 to date, you can see that it's quite an age. Of course, if you put a child in a primary school, by today, if the child is not a master degree holder, I think by today you should be, ascending to become a PhD holder. So I think the spirit of democracy, whether we like it or not, whether by force or whether by convention, is now manifesting in the lives of the former president, President Olusegun Obasanjo, for him to see beyond his nose. He is not talking as a former military general now. He is not talking as a former military president. He is talking as a citizen, a democratic citizen of Nigerians.
Away from that report, Bring Back Our Girls protesters have filed a suit challenging the decision of the FCT Police Commissioner Joseph Umbo to ban protests and rallies in Abuja. The group wants a federal high court in Abuja to declare that the police commissioner does not have the power to place a ban on protests and rallies in the Federal Capital Territory. The protesters, through an application filed on their behalf by Falana and Falana Chambers, say the order violated their constitutional rights to freedom of expression and association. They asked the court to declare that the decision to ban protests and rallies in the FCT with effect from June 1st, 2014 is illegal and unconstitutional. The Lagos State University Students' Union has urged Governor Babatunde Fashola to direct the closure of the institution's payment and registration portal. The union's president says the closure of the portal is necessary until the government reduced the tuition fees. Yusuf says the deadline by the management for students to pay their fees and register courses for the 2013-2014 academic session before May 30 has ended. He says students are bent on their no reduction, no resumption policy, and that discussions on how much the students would pay is still ongoing. The students had proposed that the fee be reduced to 46,500 naira for returning students and 65,500 naira for fresh students. Ekiti State Governor Kayode Fayemi has interacted with the state university community. The university community engaged the governor on issues bordering on governors. Rashid was there and filed in this report.
The merging of the existing three state-owned tertiary institutions, University of Ado-Ekiti, University of Science and Technology Ifaki, and the University of Education in Ikere to form Ekiti State University has transformed the standard and level of university education received in the state. Professor Dipo Aina praised the government for giving the university operational and administrative autonomy.
Ekiti State University is not like other state universities, where a vice chancellor will have to make a call every morning to Mr. Governor to take instructions on how to run the university. We have absolute administrative autonomy in Ekiti State University.
The governor was asked several questions, including the provision of the Vice Chancellor's Lodge.
This community doesn't love the way that our Vice Chancellor does not have a VC Lodge. we don't love the busy living in government quarter. It's like it's infringing on what you earlier stressed, the autonomy of the university.
I could not believe, listening to you, it makes sense now because you can have all manner of conspiracy theories. The bottom line is, we do need a BC law. We just felt, okay, we could assist with that. It was not an agenda to keep the university vice chancellor away from you.
The taxation of the university teachers is one disagreeable issue that has set the university teachers on different paths with the state government. Governor Fayemi took some time to address the complaints of the teachers.
And I want to assure the university community that as far as this government is concerned, the commitment to a fair tax system is irrevocable. Some understanding has been reached with regards to this as far as tax is concerned.
Now that we have gotten your assurance that the issue of tax has been resolved, we want to plead passionately that the issue should not be revisited.
Students of the university also complained of exorbitant rate of the school fee and multiple payments in tuition.
Sir, the other analysis they gave to us on the site when we want to pay our school fees, we still get to pay for those fees again. Like the faculty dues, the departmental due, the field work.
The state university fees are not prohibited. It is one of the lowest in Nigeria. You can challenge me. I have encouraged the Vice Chancellor to reduce the associated fee.
Governor Fayemi has publicly announced his desire to start teaching in the university by October, but the move has been described as one of the campaign strategies for the governor's re-election bid. Rashid, CoreTV News.
The 2014 All-Africa Public Relations Association Conference has ended with participants and practitioners fully resolved to allow Africans tell the Africa's story and improve the continent's image. Eblomo Adekunle, who was at Port Louis, Mauritius, a venue of the APRA conference, has more in this report.
The 2014 All-Africa Public Relations Association Conference opened in Port Louis, Mauritius, on a very sound note, with participants engaged in brainstorming sessions aimed at improving the image of the African continent. The three-day conference had in attendance major players in the public relations business in Africa. It was a near-emotional session as participants lament the negative reportage the African continent gets in the Western media. They stress that the continent's story can be better told by inhabitants of the land.
As the talented Nigerian writer Chimamanda Adichie puts it, the problem with stereotyping is not that they are untrue, but they are incomplete and does not tell the whole story. The only way to tell the full story is for Africa to tell our own story.
The general meeting of APRA afforded delegates the opportunity to evaluate the performance of the public relations professionals in the continent over the years. While all the delegates admitted that this year's conference was well organized and better than the previous years, they suggested how better the next conference should be organized and all-embracing.
But I do have a feeling that if we are talking about Africa advancing, we should be advancing in unity. And I expect that unity to start from here.
The communique issued at the end of deliberations indicated that public relations will be used extensively to advance the cause of Africa.
In view of what is happening in the West in terms of the media coverage of Africa, which we think is a bit harsh on Africa, when you look at the news channels, that's the international news channels, all you see is negative aspects of Africa, as if to say there are no positives. So we are working with the AU with a view to supporting our governments dealing with this reputation and image that is portrayed in the Western media.
An interesting part of the day came at the dinner organized to round off the conference. Delegates stepped out in beautiful attires and took over the Laventure Souk venue of the dinner. The occasion was also used to commemorate the 10 years anniversary of Blast Communication, a public relations firm in Mauritius which was saddled with the responsibility of putting the conference together. Delegates from different countries danced to the music and eventually all danced to a unity song to gracefully end the PR conference. Ebulomo Adekunle, CoreTV News, Mauritius.
Nigerians have often expressed their dissatisfaction with services provided by telecommunication companies, especially the high rate of tariff paid on calls. The regulatory body Nigerian Communications Commission has been blamed for the dismal performance of the companies. But in a swift reaction, Director of Public Affairs of the Nigerian Communications Commission says there are peculiarities to the Nigerian market.
Impact on the cost of service provisioning. And I'll give you an example. Things such as power, things such as multiple taxation and multiple regulation. Now, all of these have cost implications. Don't forget that at the time GSM services started in Nigeria, it was 50 naira per minute. Today, depending on your service provider and the kind of bundle you are on, you can have calls for as low as 6 naira per minute.
On the issue of internet users and the quality of service, Ojobo says it's a case of demand and supply.
You have about 65 million internet users in Nigeria. And in terms of internet usage, Nigeria is number 11 in the world. Nigeria is number 1 in Africa. Now, I would want to say that, yes, it is not what it should be. But I wouldn't say we're doing badly. A number of businesses in Nigeria today are done online. People are shopping online. You can have your hotel reservations online. You can make your airline bookings online. You can check in online. Now, a recent study indicated that online businesses in Nigeria as at 2012 was in the region of 50 billion naira.
Director of Public Affairs of the Nigerian Communications Commission there. You're watching CoreTV News on the Hour. We'll take a short break now and we'll be back with top stories making headline on the foreign scene.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Glad to have you back. For more information on our news and other programs, you can visit our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/CoreTV News. And you can also follow us on Twitter at CoreTV News NG. Get to watch previous and current edition of our news and programs on YouTube. It's youtube.com/CoreTV News. The International Labour Organization ILO has presented the latest social security trends. The report says that most people are without adequate social protection at a time when it's most needed.
As of today, only 27% of the world's population enjoys comprehensive social protection coverage. For the large majority of the global population, the fundamental human right to social security is not realized at all or only in a partial way that leaves billions of people insecure. Mandatory social insurance programs to cover workers who are injured at work or suffer work-induced health problems cover only 33% of the global labor force. The collapse last year of the Rana Plaza building in Bangladesh and the recent Soma mine disaster in Turkey are large and devastating examples of the risks at work, but smaller accidents happen every day, indeed every hour, in workplaces around the world. In the European Union, cuts in social protection have been one factor contributing to increases in poverty, which now affects 124 million people, or 24% of the population, many of whom are children, women, older persons, and persons with disabilities. It is time to rethink these cuts and ensure that fiscal consolidation is not accomplished on the backs of the vulnerable and the elderly.
On CoreTV News at this hour. Join us again at the top of the hour as we keep you up to date. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Thanks for being there.